there is no question that there are these other organizations that we've mentioned, the most obvious, of course, being Turning Point USA. And they decided to go front and center during the Super Bowl of all events. And why were they willing to do that? Why were they deciding that this was a necessity during the halftime show? Well, as you know, Bad Bunny had himself quite the performance. It was entirely in Spanish. And that, of course, offended a handful of people. So Turning Point USA launches its rival Super Bowl halftime show. Jen, what would possess somebody to want to launch a rival halftime show during the Super Bowl? First of all, who the fuck is turning the channel anyway?
Well, I would say that this is extremely white supremacist people. And they're also extremely ignorant. It's hilarious. Like they actually, and again, I didn't know who Bad Bunny was before he was announced as this. I didn't watch the Super Bowl. I didn't see the halftime show. I've still not seen Bad Bunny. But what I know is that he's Puerto Rican. Okay. So, right. So hello to people. Puerto Rico is actually part of this country. Now, they don't get to vote because we treat them like DC residents where they pay taxes, but they don't get to vote. So they're screwed, but they're still part of us. So the fact that these white supremacist, ignorant fucks don't realize that this is an American person, I think that set them off, because at the end of the day, that's what we have here is some serious supremacy. So there's that. Yes, he's Puerto Rican. Get all Puerto Rican with that hair. And again, I don't know anything about Bad Bunny. You know, like you could tell me his name was Good Rabbit. I don't care. But they felt the need to have something that was Americana, because I guess Puerto Rican isn't American enough for them, right? Even though ironically, the Mexican people that speak Spanish that were here are actually more American than the white people that came here after them. But that's why they have to have their own show. Because they can't have their Super Bowl ruined by a non-American Spanish-speaking person. They can't have that.
The event featured artists Kid Rock, Brantley Gilbert, Lee Brice, and Gabby Barrett, aiming to celebrate faith, family, and freedom across multiple right-leaning platforms. Erika Kirk, CEO of Turning Point USA, frames the show as honoring her late husband, Charlie Kirk's mission to engage culture and offer conservative programming. Well, here's the thing. If that's what you were planning on doing, no, what you were actually saying is what they're doing over there, we don't like that. So we're just going to do something completely different. Doesn't that go completely against what apparently Charlie Kirk stood for? I mean, I'm only using their own words. I'm not trying to hurt them in any way.
Here's what I think what would be really great. I think that the Turning Point USA people, spearheaded by Erika Kirk, I think that them and all their people should go live on Epstein's Island. Because that way, the only non-white people that they'll see are the people that are there, they serving them. Because that's the only reason that they would ever have non-white people around. And then they can all be amongst them white selves, and we don't have to have them around us.
Turnabout fair play, I would say. That's what you get.
This is
as the nation enjoyed a new kind of halftime rivalry took shape, not on the football field, but on television screens. The live stream event was a direct alternative to the NFL's official halftime performance, headlined by Puerto Rican superstar Bad Bunny. And of course, they did this across YouTube and Rumble, to right-leaning networks, The Daily Wire, Little Ben, TBN, OAN, and Real America's Voice.
But here's the thing. They didn't have Lady Gaga. Now, again, I didn't watch it, but I do know that he had Ricky Martin, who, as somebody who grew up in the 80s, yay, Ricky Martin. He was adorable.
Ricky's cool.
And yeah, he looks great. But Lady Gaga, that's some talent, man. That's some talent. So let's look who they had over. I don't know Bad Bunny, so I can't say. He might be brilliant. I don't know. But I know that Lady Gaga is exceptionally talented. So who did they have over at their talent performance? Who did they have?
I'll show you a good example in a minute. For Erika Kirk, CEO of Turning Point USA and widow, apparently, of the organization's late supposed founder, Charlie Kirk, this event carries deep personal significance. Charlie Kirk was assassinated, allegedly, in September of 2025 at the age of 31. Erika describes the All-American halftime show as an extension of her late husband's mission to engage with the culture and create programming that resonates across generations. Again, you did this as a response to someone of a different culture and language, which is very prominent in the United States, including the states of California, Texas, and Florida, where the official language forever is Spanish. But of course, you believe in manifest destiny. And that's not cool. So if you're going to say it right. It's powerful because what Charlie always loved and knew is that he wanted to be in the forefront of the culture war. Oh, so it's a culture war now. Yeah, that makes sense.
I agree.
So
David,
apparently,
look, nobody's Super Bowl show, no halftime show is going to compare to Prince. Prince was the shit. That was the best halftime show.
That's the best. The fact that he did Purple Rain in the rain, it was too good.
It was glorious.
Good. Absolutely. So, in conclusion, the choice was sparked by a wave of criticism from conservative pundits and even former president, now president, Donald Trump, who questioned Bad Bunny's popularity and suitability for the event. According to the USA Today, Bad Bunny was the most streamed artist globally in 2025, and his latest album made history by becoming the first Spanish language record to win Album of the Year at the Grammys just a week ago.
So that had to have pissed off them. That had to have pissed off some people.
And there's one more kicker. The halftime show of Bad Bunny produced 135 million viewers at its peak. That is the highest viewing for a halftime show in the history of the NFL.
Really?
Yes.
So then that just go all right. But is it also something that goes increasingly up? So is it up higher last year than the year before?
Well, Kendrick Lamar's was, yes, but that's tops.
So this guy was higher than that one?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Pretty impressive. But this is who they put up there in response. Actual Kid Rock lyrics. Young ladies, I like them underage. See, some say that's statutory, but I say it's mandatory.
I'm disgusted.
Why would somebody put that in? Why is that language that you think is necessary? There's no joking about that.
It's just gross. It's just gross.
So what's Kid Rock hiding, I think is the question. Besides the fact that he grew up in a very wealthy upbringing. Because he's really down with the cause, you know what I'm saying? Very much so. Here's what happened to Mr. Kid Rock at the event last night. Oh, you mean he was caught lip syncing his own music?
Yeah. First of all, but that's the thing. A lot of these events have to be lip sync, and I don't like it, but a lot of them say that, like, the production people, it's just the way that they make them do it. I mean, people get in trouble for it, but I'm not going to hate somebody for that, but he's a douche because he's a douche.
Oh, yes.
And he's not that good.
No, he's not. That doesn't mean he doesn't have talent. He has some talent.
No, he's okay, but he's nothing like that can be competing with a Super Bowl halftime show.
Yeah. Okay. So according to Lila, Kid Rock's song was used in Orlando Jones, a kids movie.
Wow.
Yeah, that's very disturbing. Very disturbing, but not surprising. It's so bad.
It's not good. It's ridiculous. This is terrible. Yeah, that's not good. Take that down. That's shit. I do not like that. That's not for me.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're going to get caught lip syncing, don't get caught Milli Vanilli style where words are coming out and you're just there not saying anything. Probably doesn't even remember his own lyrics.
Yeah, I agree. No, I understand people saying it's bad to lip sync an event sold as live. I know that. And I don't know the nature of this event, but I do know that in things where like people sing the national anthem and there's certain stuff that it often has to be done ahead of time. And I don't know the details. It has to do with the quality of the sound and the crowd and the thing and I don't know, but I agree. It's false advertising. I agree. I don't agree with it.
Yeah, and their event turned out the way that it did, and of course,
and I think that the majority of people that watched that weren't even real people. I think it was they paid people just like Ben Shapiro pays viewers.
Yeah, no, that was the other thing, and I wasn't able to pull it up, but the other thing that is my understanding that was also a big issue was that apparently they claimed that 5 million people were watching it live as it was happening.
No way.
But the problem is that there was no chat interaction. And people were asking, well, is this a case of the site just crashing? Or is it really just a question of, well, maybe there really isn't any real people there. These are all just bots appearing to be there. Kind of like, as Ray Mayo said,
That's what just like Ben Shapiro does.
Or 6 million, as Mehdi is suggesting. Whatever the number is, at the end of the day, there was no proof that there was anybody there. The site crashed. Yeah, sure.
I'm sure it was a very small little echo chamber of people. Murdoch says we should watch the entire show. It was very unifying, calling out all the Americas. It was beauty, love over hate. I love that stuff. Kumbaya with Bad Bunny. I love that stuff. Probably wouldn't like the music, but I don't know. I'm kind of,
I can't find the clip, but I do want to mention, before we go for the evening, Britney Spears.
Now, we're talking about Britney Spears? I didn't know we were talking about Britney Spears. When are you throwing this on me?
Just for a second. If anybody doubts that Britney Spears was abused in the worst ways possible, there's video footage of her when she's 10 years old being sexualized. Now, Colin, I could have sworn I sent this clip to you, and I'm pretty sure I did, or maybe I sent it to you, Jen. I want to. It's very telling, like extremely telling. In terms of
Britney?
Yeah, in terms of what she clearly went through.
Of course. A lot of those kids, I think, have shit like this. And then they just sort of, like, her dad, I think, was like holding her hostage.
I think her dad definitely, well, I think the parents in general.
Britney married an Iranian, like, recently? Like, is she remarried to a that's cool. If she's happy, good for her.
I could have sworn I sent it to you, Jen. I don't know if anybody has it. I know I saw it. I don't know why I didn't forward it. I could have sworn that I did. But the language that was used, and it's beyond disturbing. But there's no question that these kids are groomed. And as Lila pointed out, you think about
that's unfortunate.
You think about all the kids that came up through Nickelodeon, for example. And all those kids programs, and hearing about how they were exploited and abused and all of this. It really is one nation under blackmail. But let's not forget that a lot of these guys enjoy their behaviors. And whether this is...
Can we talk about this? Maybe add subtitles for Super Bowl audience and 95% of people who don't speak Spanish, just for starters, and try not to grab your crotch like you have a gerbil on the loose in your underwear. I'm not averse to the idea of subtitles. I think that would be...
I agree. I think that if there was one thing I did not agree with, there should have been subtitles.
I think it would be inclusive. I think that would be nice.
Yeah.
And one could say that, well, every time it's in English, we don't do subtitles. That's true. That's true. But it is in this country. So I do think it would be nice. And I also think it would be more inclusive and more people wouldn't be turned off. I think it would just be helpful. But as far as grabbing his crotch, I mean, come on, that's been in style forever. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a crotch grabber.
Sorry. Got to give my little love to Mikey.
You can't.
I don't want to creep people out, but if you think we're punished in the state of Florida with Debbie Wasserman Schultz, here's the one person who's even worse than her.
Any person who goes to the Olympics to represent the United States and then says they don't want to represent the United States should be immediately stripped of the Olympic uniform.
Can we just say that I've never actually looked at him in alien form before?
Oh my God.
But there is no question.
He put on his... Take him.
Voldemort is jump scare. Yes, he is going to.
Oh my God, he forgot to put his skin on. Put that away.
That's a legit reptile. That is a person who's going to jump out of his skin.
Look at that. That's just not normal.
That is scary. He is scary looking.
Oh,
like, that is
horrifying.
Just bad.
That
How
is
to put
not
that out there.
good.
Okay.
So he's wanting to punish people just like what apparently Stephen Miller's wife was. Please take him off the screen. Stephen Miller's wife was saying stuff like that to the athletes, that if you say if you can't only be supportive of America and say nice things, you shouldn't be there in the Olympics. Like, these are some psychotic people.
Well, there's no question that Rick Scott is a psychopath. Like, I think that's pretty safe to say, considering the guy is a mass murderer by proxy.
Mehdi, that is Rick Scott, who was the governor of Florida and is now one of our 2 senators. And he is who we call Voldemort. And he is horrifying. So for people that have, when they were feeling sorry for us because we have Ron DeSantis as a governor, and we're all like, what are you talking about? He's a step up. Ron DeSantis was an improvement for us. Seriously.
Yeah.
So for people, wrap your head around that.
And honestly, Ron DeSantis was actually having a very good first term until he decided to run for president. And then
he was okay. Look, he did stuff I don't like. He's done a couple of okay things. For the most part, I think he's garbage.
He did very good stuff on the environment. He was very good.
He was fine with some of that stuff. But look, he's not my guy. But the end of the day, for people who are looking at Florida and looking at Ron DeSantis, that's an improvement for us.
Oh, yeah.
Wrap your head around it.
Scott is the devil incarnate as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, for sure.
Credit where credit's due to our trusty producer. This is where we conclude this evening. If you want to understand how these kids get groomed, this is Britney Spears.
More interesting to adult men than the development of an adolescent female. We are hardwired. Nothing more interesting to adult men than the development of an adolescent female. We are hardwired to recognize that.
You have the most adorable, pretty eyes. You have a boyfriend?
No, sir.
How about me?
There's a lot of sexual energy that is oozing out of that little girl. She can't possibly manage that kind of sexuality.
At the tender age of 10, Britney was already using her budding sexuality to attract an audience. But when the Star Search cameras turned on, Britney was transformed, pouring on a sexy southern charm the judges had never seen in a package so small.
She comes out in a very provocative gown with high heels, and all of a sudden that little girl knocks you.
That's a pederast right there.
Oh, completely.